this is F class, and we're in the sixth circle. So Farinata was an enemy to the guilt and to Florence, and he admits that. And Cavalcante is just a dad. He's all these people are heretics. So they're there for a reason, but it's kind of poignant little scene with Cavalcante thinking that his son is dead. And so anyway, we'll start with Anna Grace, right? No, with you. Okay. And who is going to go second? Okay, that's great.
The words he used, together with his mode of torment, were sufficient to betray his name, as thus my pointed answer showed. He leapt upright crying, What dost thou say? He fell. Why fell? Our life and feeling over? Looks he no longer on the pleasant day?
So that was Cavalcante, who thinks he heard Dante say something. I don't know why he thinks his son is dead, but he does, and he's upset about it.
Then seeing him hesitate a while before, made reply, he let himself suddenly fall backward again, and showed his face no more. But that great-hearted spirit, at whose call I stayed my step, his countenance did not move, nor bent his neck, nor stirred his side at all. And if he spoke straight on where we broke off, if they had missed the trick of it, I burned, thus in this bed and with the thought thereof. But thou, ere 50 times the light return to that queen's face who reigneth here below, shalt find out just what trick costs to learn. But tell me why, as thou dost hope to go, back to the light thy people ways decree, so harsh against their house, hate is so. That field of havoc and bloody butcheries, I answered him, when Arabia's stream ran red, have filled our temple with these
Litanies.
litanies. He sighed before he spoke and shook his head.
Mr. Powell?
Hello? No, when was? Sure.
Okay, so
1:30. Where was I?
He sighed before he spoke. It should be
1:30.
Faith.
Faith. Was I not alone there, nor had gone, and with the rest without good cause, he said. But when they made agreement, every one, to wipe out Florence, I stood to plead boldly for her. There I was alone. Now so may rest come, so hard to receive. Said I, pray solve me in this perplexity, which ties my brains in a tight knot in me. It seems you can foresee and prophesy events that time will bring if I hear right. But with things present, we deal differently.
All right, so several things there, but let's check the questions out. Question 44, 45, 46, we'll answer, all right? I think we have to read some more to answer 46, but 44, these are the heretics. How are they being punished? Okay, would you like, someone like to explain it? Would you like to explain it?
So we said there were a few different reasons, but the big one was rigid in their teaching, and so now they can't move. Like they're so stubborn in their teaching that now they're wrapped up and they can't move. And then we also said that it's irony because they preach about how to get to heaven, but they're burning in hell.
Very good. Yeah, so that explains it really well. All right, so 45, Cavalcante's sadness when he believes that Dante is hiding his son's death from him suggests an important element of condemned soul's ability. They cannot see the present. Farinata confirms this in line 103, which we're about to read, of Canto. So the thing is, it's interesting, Farinata is going to tell the future, right? He's going to tell what's, he's going to tell some things about the future. But Cavalcante doesn't know the present because he doesn't know if his son is dead or not. So all people in hell could presumably tell the future, including Cavalcante, but he doesn't know the present. That's this situation.
I was wondering, so Farinata is the one who is the Ghibelline, and he was the
Yes.
enemy to Florence.
That's right.
But are they both
Cavalcante?
Yes, him. Are they both heretics?
They're, all of them are heretics, both are
Okay.
heretics. We don't know what they preached, at least I didn't pay any attention to what it was.
Okay, so Farinata and Cal,
Yes,
yes, that guy.
Mhm.
They both wake up in their tombs,
yes,
and then he's the sea dude is looking for
Yes.
his son.
yes,
Okay, I just wanted to clarify.
yes.
So these tombs are barbecued, so they're physically on fire?
Yeah, but remember, they're, in a sense, they don't have physical bodies, they seem to have spiritual bodies. So they have heads and they have bodies, but they're not physical, they're spiritual, which is something some people believe, that in heaven and hell, that we have spiritual bodies. It's not real clear, it's called the intermediate stage. The Bible's not crystal clear, you have to kind of draw some conclusions. For instance, when Jesus met on Mount Transfiguration, Moses and Elijah came down, they could see them. So they must have, they had a spiritual body of some kind. Samuel, when Saul went to the witch of Endor, she conjured Samuel up, Saul could see him. So he had a body of some kind. So some people deduce from that in heaven we'll have spiritual body. We were not made to be disembodied. We were made to have bodies. Unlike angels, they weren't made to have bodies.
They're just spirits.
Right, but they can have a body, they can become a body, but we were made to have bodies, so that's kind of encouraging. We're kind of tied to this body. We'll leave it behind for a while, but we'll get it back. So anyway, those are great things to contemplate.
Okay.
All right, so we have answered 40, we will answer, I need somebody to read this next page.
Tate said
Yeah,
it.
I
Oh, Tate, sorry.
Tate, thank you, Tate.
We see,
Yep.
Yes, sir.
we see, said he, like men who are dim of sight, things that are distant from us, just so far we still have gleams of all Fielder's light, guider's light. But when these things draw near, or when they are, our intellect is void, and your world stay unknown. Save someone, bring us news from there.
So he explained, I think this is Farinata, explains that fact, that strange fact. He sees the future but not the present.
Hence thou wilt see that all we can await is the start of death of knowledge in us. Then when time's last hour shall shut the future's gate, at this my conscience smote me, I again addressed him. Tell that fallen shade, I cried, his son still walks the world of living men. If I was silent when he asked me, say 'twas only that my wits were in a worry, snared by the error which you swept away.
So he asked Farinata to tell Cavalcante, your son still lives. Somehow he apologizes for not answering that question clearly earlier. Yeah.
And now my guide was calling me to hurry. Wherefore I urged the shade with greater haste to say who else was in that cemetery. I lied, he said, with thousands. In his chest the second fragile glass. Our ranks include the cardinal. I will not name the rest. He spoke and sang. Returning to where stood the ancient poet, I pondered what they meant. Those words which seemed to bode me little good. Then he moved on, and later, as we went, why so distraught, said he. I set to work answering his question to his full content. Sagely he bade me, be thou mine, and mark those adverse warnings. Now to what I say, and here he raised his finger. Prithee, mark. When thou shalt stand bathed in the glorious ray of her whose blessed eyes see all things complete, thou'st learn the meaning of thy life whole way. With that, leaving the wall, we turned our feet towards the center, by a path that ran down to a vale. Those fumes rose high to greet our nostrils, even where the descent began.
Bless you, bless you. I'll read.
Yeah, anyway, the important thing is that we just explained 45. And then who is Farinata? We talked about him, what his relationship to Dante. He's the one who killed many of Dante's country friends. He killed him, and he predicts. It's really hard for me to find, but he does predict Dante's exile. And I'll have to look for it again, because I've always had trouble finding it. It's really, but take my word for it. All right, now. Okay, yeah, so we have to be, if you'll flip the page, we don't have a lot of time, but now you're definitely ahead, so you're gonna read, yeah. Page 134, this is a transition chapter. They don't go anywhere. They're still in the city of Dis, waiting for the smell to go away. They're kind of overcome by the experience, and so Dante and Virgil will spend this period, or this canto, it's fairly short. This is one of my favorite, and we'll read the first page, but he explains the rest of hell. He explains the ordering of hell, and I find this interesting. So why don't you read the story and the text?
While the poets pause for a little on the brink of the descent to the seventh circle, Virgil explains to Dante the ranges of hell. Where a great cliff fell sheer, its beetling brow ringed with huge jagged rocks, we reached the brink, o'erhanging the steel gas surgeons below. And here so overpowering was the sting, the deep abyss threw off that we withdraw staggered, for a scream were forced to shrink. Behind the massive wall or plain to view stood red. I hold hope Anastasis, blurred by fondages in the pathway true. We'll wait a while, the master said, that thus our senses may grow us to this vile sin. And after that it would not trouble us. But let's not lose the time so spent. Think now what compensation thou canst find, surely. He answered, such a fine thing. See now, son, 3 narrowing circles lay within these cliffs. Thus he took up the table, each under each, like those we look on. Damn spirits fill all, thou canst not fail, to know them at glance. Though if I state how and for what there here can up in jail, of all malicious wrong that earned heaven's hate, the injury, all such ends are one, either by force or fraud. Both perpetrate evils others, but since man alone is capable of fraud, God hates that worst. The fraudulent lie lowest, then and grown. Deepest of these 3 circles, all the first holds violent men, but as threefold may be their victim, the 3 rings there dispersed.
All right, let's just kind of wrap this up. They're waiting. It's kind of a holding pattern, and they're gonna kind of get oriented, and they're gonna start again. So he's explaining what's coming. There are 3 more circles. We've gone through 6. There are 3 more. 7, 8, and 9.
That's 46.
What?
Oh, okay, you want to read it, okay.
Well, not yet. I just okay. So let's see where can. Okay, number 47. Discuss how triads are present in Virgil's explanation of the remainder of hell. So anyway, there are 3. That's a triad. There are 3 circles left. One is violence. We kind of understand that, and one is fraud. What's his explanation of why fraud is worse than violence?
Because like it holds violent men, sorry, because of their victims. Is that why? Because it says, but as threefold may be their victims in 3 rings, they are dispersed.
Yeah, violence hurts people, right? And so does fraud. But the difference is that fraud, he says, is something only man alone is capable of doing.
Oh, yeah.
And God hates that work. So man can be violent, but he can also deceive. And the deception is what God hates the most, yes.
Also, along those lines, reading ahead of it, it says fraud which knocks every conscience may be a breach of trust against the confiding.
Yeah, you're breaching a trust, and that's a huge thing. and we're about to go, but he says, deepest of the three circles, all the first hold violent men, but as threefold may be their victims in three rings. So on Monday, when we come back, we will figure out why violence, we'll pick it up here. Violence has three rings, and I'll tell you what they are. They're violence against God, self, and neighbor. You actually flip them in the order they're presented. So it's neighbor, self, and God. You can be violent toward those three things.
So within violence, there are three circles?
They're three rings.
Rings.
They call them, yeah, rings. And then Boges within the ninth, the eighth circle, and regions in the 10th, the ninth circle.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you probably go.
Thank you.
Yeah, see.